Brian Powell of I Run Far here. Tuesday before Western States with AJW. AJW, how's it going?
It's going great, Brian. Happy Merry Statesmas.
Merry Statesmas. It's coming up on us quick this year.
It is. Strange, weird weather here in Squaw, too, with rain pouring down. But should change quickly.
2 full days of a deluge, and then the heat turns back up.
Exactly.
Hot and dry.
Yep.
But not dusty.
Yeah, it might bring the dust down and hopefully no fires.
Worried about that 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Well, this year is an exciting race, as always. Women's field. A lot of depth there. A lot of potential winners.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all going to miss Ellie Greenwood, obviously, but it's great that she's going to be here and be a part of the festivities. Packed field. Got to think of Rory Bozio, last year's second place finisher. Could be a local winner from Truckee.
Hasn't happened since Tweet.
Right? That's right. I think it's been a while since there's been a local winner. The Oregon crew,
Tracy, yeah.
Amy Sproston, Megan, the ageless Megan Arbogast. Other runners from last year, Liza LaPierre, Nikki Kimball, perennial top 10er here. I think this would be her 8th consecutive top 10 female finish if she gets there. For Nikki Kimball, that's just quite a record. And then some newcomers that could be very interesting. Cassie Scallion's just been hammering the 50 milers, although got a little injury, I think, earlier in the month in New York State. And Emily Harrison, who I ran with a little bit over the winter, who's a UVA grad and has spent some time in Virginia and is training under the guise of Ian Torrance. Could be an interesting blend of the old timers and the newbies in that women's race.
She and Carrie Bruxford have the least experience of people who have top 5 potential for this year in the women's field. You've run with Emily. How do you think she'll react to making the 100-mile debut and I think her 4th ultra, something like that?
It is. I mean, she's got a good head on her shoulders. Having run with her, as I said a couple of times, she's been soaking in the information about both the race and about the distance, and I think has the humility to come into the event knowing that 100 miles is a heck of a lot longer than 50. That said, there's so much unknown once you get past 60, 70 miles that you really don't know until you know. Yeah. And I think she'll learn a lot about herself. We'll learn a lot about her, as with the other newcomers in the race. It should be quite an interesting storyline there between the grizzled veterans on that women's field and the newcomers.
Gotcha. On the men's side.
Well, we got to start with the defending champion, Timothy Olson. He went from that 6th place finish in 11 to the victory stand last year, and we followed along, literally chasing him down. He kept getting faster as the race went along, as he gained that gap on Ryan Sands after the river crossing. So I gotta have him as the favorite. And then I really see a couple, basically 3 categories of guys battling it out this year. The experienced guys, especially from last year's top 10, with the guys who came in under the Ultra Cup last year, Joe Yuhan, Dylan Bowman, Jorge Maravilla, the crew, Ian Sharman, who's a perennial top 10er, and Nick Clark, who just seems to be tough as tough can be year after year in this thing. There's that group. There's a group that are the grizzled veterans and past champions, whether you're talking about Hal Kerner, the great storyline this year with Mike Morton, Carl Meltzer making his Western States debut. Been a long time since Carl's been able to be here in this event, and we're thrilled to have him here. And others I'm sure I'm forgetting about. And then this batch of newcomers, highlighted, I would say, by Cameron Clayton and Rob Crar, who there's a great deal of unknown with those 2 guys, but there's no doubt they have the foot speed. There's no doubt that they have the desire and the willingness to put it out there. So those 3 batches of guys and the potential for a very hot race day, it could be really interesting and hard to pick a winner. If I were to say one thing I think could happen is that it could be a lot like 09, where someone breaks away. That year it was Hal, And then you had this pack really close together. That year it was Tsuyoshi Kaburagi and Kevin Sullivan and Jasper Halakis and Jez Bragg, and they were just bunched together. And then from 6 all the way back to, say, 16, there was a long spread after that. I could see something similar happening, not knowing who the cast of characters were, but interestingly enough, the high in Auburn that year, 99 degrees. So it could be interesting.
Current forecast high for the day.
Exactly.
You have a lot of experience around the back of that top 10. Mm-hmm. Who do you think 8, 9, 10?
Oh gosh, the interesting thing about it every year is that race within the race for 8 to 13, 14.
Any surprises in there?
I think it'd be hard to surprise in the top 10 this year, to be honest. I think the depth going in to between 17 to 20 would be, it'd be tough to see someone sneaking in there. If there are a couple of folks that no one's talking about that could surprise, you could have Dan Barger, been at it for a long time, squeezed into top 10 a few years back. You could have Paul Terranova, who can handle the heat, no doubt about it, and certainly has the chops to run in just about any conditions. And another newcomer I forgot, some people are talking about him, but a local who sucks up course knowledge maybe as much as I do, Jacob Riedman. I think he's got his eyes set on a real fast time, and if he gives it a go and can hold it together, he could get into that top 10 as well.
Back on the women's side, you sort of said at the outside of the men's side, Timmy's the favorite on the men's side. Pin you down. Who do you think is going to win the women's race? I haven't seen your picks yet for the prediction contest.
I went with Rory. I went with Rory as someone who's moved her way up. I saw her run and blow past me at Sonoma. She runs with such a great attitude, with such a great spirit about her, respects the race. I think I think it's her time. But any faltering and any great push from the newcomers, whether it be Cassie or Emily or the grizzled vets like Megan, Nikki, it could be a real interesting back and forth there in that women's race.
Yeah. Now on to you, AJW. You had 7 straight top 10 finishes, had to miss the race due to injury last year. If we were racing today and it's 65 and raining, you don't have a shot for the top 10, quite frankly.
No,
however,
no, I don't have a shot at the top
10. Close to 100 degrees high in Auburn, 110, 115 in the canyons. You think you can break that top 10 realistically?
I'm trying really hard not to think about it, and working hard and talking to my family about having realistic expectations. The tougher the conditions are, the better chance I have of you squeaking around the edges of top 10. But I'm going to run my race. I'm going to see what the day brings. I'm going to run assertively from Lions Ridge to Robinson Flat. I'm going to hammer the downhills past Miller's Defeat and through Dusty and around Pucker Point and down to the Swinging Bridge. And then I'll take stock. I wouldn't say it's out of the question, but if I were to make the top 10 this year, I'd say it would probably be the best effort I've ever put in at Western States. My training, it was brutal last year to miss the race. I loved hanging out with you, loved following the race, and by the way, really do look forward to a post-Western States career where I can support Craig as a volunteer and work with you as part of the race coverage. I am going to stop after 10. But it was hard missing last year, and the emotion of being able to come back to running and slogging through a 9-hour plus 50-miler back in Virginia just to get a qualifier, and then building up my fitness through some hilarious 50-milers at Ray Miller and at Lake Sonoma, where I just got my butt kicked. From Lake Sonoma to now, I've been focused 80 to 90 miles a week, getting in the miles, taking care of the vertical. I'm as prepared as a 45-year-old guy could be to put in my best shot. And as I've said to anybody, if if I roll into Highway 49 and I'm in 11th or 12th place and I pick up my son Logan to pace me in, we'll be pushing hard and keeping an eye out for those headlamps.
Gotcha. But in the back of your mind has to be finishing. This is number 9.
This will be number 9.
So you get an automatic entry next year if you can finish.
If I can finish, I get an automatic entry, and Craig Thornley has told me that this is my one shot.
Yep.
And I really do not want to screw that up.
Yep.
I want to come back for number 10 in 2014 and call it a career, at least here at Western States. And I think it'll be a great day on Saturday. It always is. It always is. And I think it'll be that much sweeter this year because it's 24 months in the making.
Oh yeah. Well, we got to go hit the sauna and go for a run so we can figure out what the handicap is between you and me.
Indeed, we do.
We've looked at the splits before, or the past years, and it's about 2 hours and a half, 2:20.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a little closer.
And let's plan on an interview on Sunday where I'm asking the questions. How about that?
Sounds good, Adrian.
All right, deal.
Happy Statesman.
Happy Statesman.